Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Conscious Living Spiritist group. We hope you and your families are well in this blessed Sunday morning. It's good to be back with all of you. I would like to start just doing a technology check here, asking for anyone just to confirm on Facebook or YouTube if you can hear and see us well. As usual, today we have some very important reflections to all of us with our guest. We will certainly start with our initial reading today from the book Heart and Soul by Francisco Cândido Xavier and Emmanuel. And we will then go through the lecture with our dear friend Sandra Benneti with a very important topic for all of us. Juan, good morning. I hope you can see and hear as well. Welcome everyone who is joining us, and we'll get right into the initial reading. Thanks, Juan, for confirming. Much appreciated. Again, the book Heart and Soul by Francisco Cândido Xavier and Emmanuel, and the lesson is the lesson number 60, Trust in God. And I take this as a very personal reminder to myself, because when things are tough, sometimes our trust weakens or shakes a bit. But anyway, let's see what Emmanuel has to tell us. Never lose hope, even in the worst conditions. Never condemn someone who has gotten embarrassed in the labyrinth or the maze of ordeal. The roughest moment of a problem may be the one in which we find its solution. In many cases, the person you think most objectionable in a serious offense may often be the one less guilty carries in the weft of evil that the shadows have woven. Surely there will be a correction for the mistakes in darkness by the mechanisms of order, as much as there will be a remedy for the sick by the medicine resources. See, however, the merciful power of God in the smallest sectors of nature. The smoother seed is the one that will sustain your granary. The stone placed on discipline is the agent that ensures you a firm construction. Sorrows and tears are processes of life in which you gain energies to go ahead. In the discharge of commitments embraced, so that your eyes get illuminated in the accurate discernment. On the hard days, stand up for life. Raise your head. Embrace the duties that events have given you. And bless the existence in which the divine providence has placed you. No matter how deep is the pain that visits you, the blow which hurts you, the tribulation that seeks for you, or the suffering that weighs on your shoulders, do not be discouraged in faith, and keep faithful to your obligations. For if all the good seems lost before the task in which you find yourself, be sure that God is with you, working on the other side. So we never walk alone, as the song says. Good morning, Susanna. Good morning, Carlos. Good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to the Conscious Living Spiritist group. I would like to invite everyone now for our initial prayer. If you would like to close your eyes, do so. And in these very moments, in these very brief moments, we invite all of you to join us, and in a joint effort to bring our hearts and our minds to the present moment, expressing gratitude to God for this blessed day, this day of learning, this day of existence in this marvelous planet. Dear God, please help us in these moments where we gather here to learn the lessons of the spiritual benefactors, those helping our confused minds often in our frightened hearts to become stronger, to become more confident, to trust in your support at all times. We ask the good spirits, our protector spirits who are present with us in our homes, by our side, at all moments, to help us to absorb the lessons this morning, to gain the confidence and the strength and the faith so important to our existence, to the trials and tribulations that we all face, and for the work and activities that we have ahead of us. Please, dear friends, dear Father, also help all of our brothers and sisters who may not be able to join us this morning. Help our family members who are not present with us here in this meeting physically. And also assist our dear friend Sandra, who prepared the lessons, the study this morning with so much care and love. May she be inspired to transmit to all of us her reflections for the day. And with that, we ask your blessings and permission to begin our humble meeting this morning. Thank you, and so be it. Dear friends, welcome once again, and I am very happy to introduce you to our dear friend Sandra Benneti. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning, Marcos. Thank you so much.
Sandra
I'm happy
is
to be
our
here.
neighbor from Deerfield Beach, from the
Yes.
Kardashian Spirit Society of Florida,
Mhm.
and she will share with us her reflections this morning. Have a great lecture, Sandra.
Thank you. Good morning again, everyone. I'd like to welcome you on this beautiful Sunday morning. And today we are going to talk about the chapter 9, which is the blessed are the meek and the peace loving. It is the chapter 9 of the Spiritists, the Gospel according to Spiritism. So, in the Gospel according to Spiritism, we're going to talk about this passage of Matthew's. It's one of the Beatitudes attributed to Jesus, and in particular, 8 blessings they are recounted by Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount in the Gospel of Matthew. So we're gonna start then reading this passage before, and then we're gonna try to understand the meaning of some words that they are in the message, and what is the meaning for us, right? So let's see. Let's start here on the Matthew 5:4, chapter 5, verse 4. Blessed are the meek, for they shall possess the earth. Blessed are the peace loving, for they shall be called children of God, which is chapter 5, verse 9. And then the 21 to 22, the same chapter, you have learned what was said to the ancients, you shall not kill, and whoever kills shall deserve being condemned to judgment. But I say to you that whoever shows anger against his brother shall deserve being condemned to judgment. Whoever says to his brother, Raka, shall deserve to be condemned by the council. And whoever says to him, you fool, shall deserve being condemned to the fire of hell. So that is the passage we're going to be comment today. And we strongly suggest that after, this talk that we have here, you go to your book and read the whole chapter. So you're going to understand better what we're talking about. So what is happening here? We see that the word meekness on this passage that you still can see on the screen as the same as goodness. So when you say meekness, it's the same as goodness. As we talk today, we'll see that being meek is far from being weak, because society today understand that if the person is meek, it's a person is weak. It is not true. We're gonna talk about that. Now, by these maxims, Jesus makes meekness, moderation, docility, affability, and patience a law. That's very important because Jesus, he makes all these attributes law that we should follow. Now, he also, because he makes these words as law, he condemns violence, anger, and rude words toward others, which is very common today, right? We people just curse people on the streets or even at home. And Jesus saying that whoever says, as you've seen the passage, whoever says to his brother, Raka, shall deserve to be condemned by the council. What Raka means at the time of Jesus, Raka to the Hebrew was a term to scorn people, to disdain, to treat with disregard. In the meaning is a worthless person. It was said while spitting and turn one's head to the side. That's how they use this word. Now Jesus goes even further, since he threatens with the fire of hell anyone who says another word to the person, you fool. And you think about it. Well, you fool, it doesn't seem so bad word to say to another person, but it all depends, of course, the intent. What you intend when you say a bad word to someone? Because if you think about the word fool, if see how a simple word can have enough gravity to deserve such a severe reproach, such a severe blame, right? It is because every offensive word expresses a sentiment that is contrary to the law of love and charity, which should regulate all our human relations and maintain harmony until and unit in those human relations. So Jesus tried to tell us that every time you say a bad word to someone, you're going against the law of love and charity. And also because such a word is an insult to mutual benevolence and fraternity, because it encourages hatred and animosity. And you see on social media, right? And people started to say, to curse someone. Sometimes you say, oh, that's not a bad word, but it hurt the person. And this is against the benevolence and fraternity that we should be having with one another. Now, and after humility toward God, charity toward one's neighbor is the first law of every Christian. So has much weight when you think about we are spiritists, we are Christians, and have more weight on us when you say, when behave like that. Why? Because we shouldn't. We know why we shouldn't, because we learn about the Jesus teachings. It always have more weight on us as Christians. Now, next, what did Jesus mean by these words? Blessed are the meek, for they shall possess the earth. What did Jesus meant for this sentence? You see, you're not gonna if you follow word by word, you say, okay, now I'm gonna renounce all the things that I have in life on this world, and I'm gonna promise those things to heaven. Do you think that's the meaning Jesus is trying to say? Well, let's think about for a moment, right? What Jesus tried to say is that we should give a proper importance to things. It is important to live comfortably in a house. It is important to some people that I have a car because I need a car. Those things are important. But just an example, there are so many things that we have, material things that we have, but we should give a proper importance, because most of people will give more importance to this kind of the material things they shouldn't, right, in this life. So we are not here, Jesus not trying to say with these words, blessed are the meek, for they shall possess the earth, because we are, renounce everything or deny this, right? So by these words, Jesus means that up to till now, the things of earth have been monopolized by aggressive persons to the harm of those who are meek and peace-loving. And you see every day that people they possess so many things, and they try uh, to behave in an aggressive way that people have less things. So that's not the meek and peace loving people behavior that we should having on this situation. Now, the law of love and charity. This law, Jesus promises that justice will be rendered to the meek and peace loving on earth and in heaven, for they shall be called children of God. That's the other passage there. So when love and charity is finally be the law of humankind. Imagine if you live in a planet that we are regulated, all humanity regulated by the law of love and charity. Things would be different. Now, such will be the state of earth when, according to the law of progress, blessed are the meek and peace loving, and the promise of Jesus, it becomes a blessed world through the expulsions of evil individuals. Which brings us for the questions of a spirit book. The spirit books, or on the third part, that you see the laws, the natural laws, and law of progress. Allan Kardec, in the question 784, asked for the higher beings. Humankind's perversity is very great. Doesn't it seem like humans are regressing instead of progressing, at least from a moral point of view? Well, I think every some of us we always ask these questions, right? Because we wake up in the morning and when you see the news, right, it's only bad news all over the planet. And you think, oh my God, I think we're going backwards. But look at what the Spirit says to Kardec and to us. You are mistaken. Observe the whole closely, And you will see that they are advancing because they have a better understanding of what evil is, leading them day by day to reform their abuses. The excesses of evil will make them understand the need for the good and for reforms. So, what we see here in the planet, all these things that you go through our personal life, the trials of our personal life, difficulties that we have, or collectively, like the pandemic situation, the news from the wars that is happening, the hunger that is happening in the planet right now, or even financial hardships, violence. It's sometimes we see ourselves think this very question, and they say that we are mistaken, we're not going backwards, we are progressing, because um, certain things that we don't accept anymore. Let's make an example of the war that we have in Ukraine right now. Before Ukraine, Russia invaded two other countries and wasn't talked too much as is being talked now. So there is a point we get tired of violence. You see how the planet come together to say enough is enough. We don't want a war anymore. So that's the kind of we're gonna see more and more as humanity. We're gonna say no for certain things that in the past was, nobody, no, at least most of people wouldn't care. Now we say, hey, that is enough. But we have to go through these situations, very badly situations, until you want inside of you, no, this is enough. I don't want this anymore. Take another example. During the pandemic, now is considering a period of great resignation. I don't know if you've heard about it. A lot of people realized during pandemic they were being abused, not abused, but they were the employers they worked for wasn't being fair to them. They say, wait a minute, what I'm doing here? I have this work that is important, but I'm not being respected as I should. So a lot of people start to, getting off the job. So I don't want this job anymore because I want to be respected. I don't want this pay anymore. This pay doesn't pay my rent. Doesn't, things are changing. So these people start to, resignation, presented resignation from the work, and it was collectively, it was so strong that they called out great resignation. So it brought a change. But what brought a change? The pandemic. If you didn't have the pandemic, everything would be exactly the same, right? We wouldn't change. So must be something very strong to make us change, because that's the level the planet is right now. Another thing that we can take from this passage, the blessed are the meek and peace loving, is the Spirit's teachings in this chapter. It's very important, and we want to talk about one of them now. The title is affability and meekness. Is from the spirits that identify himself as Lazarus. As the message was sent to Allan Kardec, is from Paris, 1861, the year of 1861. Okay. The spirit that identifies, himself in this message, he says that benevolence with our neighbor produces affability and meekness, and there are its manifestations. So if we are benevolent to our neighbor, that produces affability and meekness. That's the manifestation. This spirit, he also emphasizes that if you look with attention of people, they seem to have these qualities. But it's not, some people in the society, you look at people and say, oh, that people has affability, is meek, is affable, but they are not, because such individuals, they just show as a mask. If you see inside of them, they have like a smile, but their lips and venom in their hearts. That's how the spirit described these people. So who are meek as long as nothing angers them. You see, sometimes you say, okay, I am a meek person, I'm a good person, but as long as nobody step on my toes, then I change everything. I start to be angry, or, or bite back to the person. So that's not being meek. We need to be meek outside in appearance and inside in our heart, right? He also says that men and women who seem benign on the outside, but who are really domestic tyrants. There are some women and men, you know, they are very nice to the works at work, saying, oh, this person is so nice. But when they get home with, the family, they change it completely. They are like tyrants, you know, they like to they are very they have authority of that person. So what happened is they do not dare to use the authority on strangers at work, because who put them in their place, right? If they behave the way they behave at home, if say they behave that way at work, it probably would lose the work, right? Would be unemployed. They say no, but what they want to be feared, so they cannot be feared at work. Say they do at home, right? They do at home, and they say, "Here I command and I'm obeyed," without thinking that they could very very well said, "And I'm detested." So it's not enough for lips to flow with milk and honey, because if the heart does not do the same, it's just hypocrisy, right? So those are the teachings that spirit talking about, linking benevolence with affability and meekness for us. Another also spirit's teachings on this chapter 9 is about patience. It's from a spirit friend that how identify himself from Havre in France in 1862, the year of 1862. He says the following: be patient. Patience, too, is a form of charity, and you must practice the law of charity taught by Christ, the envoy of God. Okay, we say we never, I think the first time I read this, I never thought patient was linked to charity. I think most people don't know that, but it's linked to charity. What happens is, he says also, pain is a blessing that God sends upon the elect. Therefore, do not become troubled when you suffer. Instead, bless Almighty God, who through the pain of this world has marked you out for glory in heaven. Some people read this and say, oh, spiritists, they like to do the apology of pain. That's not it. That's not what they're saying there. On the contrary, it's just a clarification that pain makes us move, makes us want to change, want to move forward. So the trials of this life come to make us stronger and help us to progress. Remember that we were talking about a few minutes ago about the example and the pandemic, the great resignation. People start to realize, but that behavior change because we have the pandemic that makes us suffer. We still have, right? The pandemic is still on, but the pandemic, there will be that were necessary to have a situation of pain, for us, to make us move forward, to make us to want to change. And that's how it is, right? So he says, forgiving those whom God has placed on our path to be instruments of our suffering and to put our patience to the test. Sometimes we pray and ask, please, God, give me patience. That's a mistake. You don't ask God for patience. Because if you ask God for patience, you're going to be put under circumstances, more and more circumstances and situation that requires patience. What we need to ask for God is to give the strength, to give the wiseness, to know what I can do to be patient with the situation. If I have at work, I have a boss that's very difficult to work with. So I'm going to ask God for patience. No, we're going to ask God to help us to understand why this boss is behaving like that. See him as a person with troubled heart. That's why behave like that. When we change the perspective, when we see the person, we start to understand, and then we automatically have more patience to deal with this situation, right? So I'm going to give you an example that happened to me. I was having trouble with someone at work. Then I realized that when I was because he was very young than me, and I realized that young man, I realized that I was very similar to him when I was at his age. That made me change, and also invited him to have lunch with me. And I asked him, um, are you bothered with me? Is there anything I can do to help you? After that, everything changed. I see him in a different way, and he also see me in a different way. So we have to realize and see people as person who suffer as well. We are not the only one suffering. We are not the only one having troubles. People have trouble. Sometimes you go to the supermarket and the cashier is in a bad mood, and you say, how can you treat me like that? I'm a customer here. Maybe you shouldn't say those words because it makes matters worse. Pray for this person. Say, how are you feeling today? Is there anything I can do to help? Because that person is suffering. That's why he's behaving like that. So you see, we we need to change it perspective. We see people because we are Christians and we are spiritists, which makes greater because we see people. When you see, hey, there is a spirit suffering there. It's not only this life we have many many lives before this one, and we're going to have more and more lives existence after this one. So when you put things in perspective, we change our behavior and we suffer less, right? Now we're talking about difficult people that you're dealing with. I just want to make a parenthesis here, right? This message from the spirit that we just talking about, he's not saying we should submit to abuse, right? So you understand that abuse of all kind must be reported. We're not talking about things very extreme, right? We're talking about a difficult situation or people that we must deal with. We're not talking abuse, right? So let's make this different. So he asks us to remember that Christ is our model. He suffered more than any one of us and had nothing for which to reproach himself, whereas you have your past to expiate and to strengthen up for the future. So be patient. That he's saying to us, be Christians. This word sums up everything. Be Christian. That's right. It means everything to us. the way we should behave towards each other. Okay. Another another message that we have from the spirits, again, is from the spirit Lazarus, but this time the first message we talked about was from Paris, and for the year 1861. Now it's 1863. So after 2 years, he sent another message, and Kardec compiled the book, the Gospel According to Spiritism, with this message. At all points, Jesus' doctrine teaches obedience and resignation. That's going to talk about this. These are two very active companion virtues of meekness. So if you are meek, you have obedience as a virtue, and you have resignation. He says obedience is the consent of reason, and resignation is the consent of the heart. Now, obedience, both of them, obedience and resignation, are active forces because they carry the burden of the trials that senseless uprising make us fail on both of them. If we rebel against it, we failed. That's what he's trying. He is trying to say. He says the coward cannot be resigned, just as the proud and selfish person cannot be obedient. So Jesus was the incarnation of these virtues, scorned by the materialistic antiquity in Rome, right? Was happening in Roman at that time, the Roman society? The Roman society was perishing in the bankruptcy of corruption. So Jesus came on this scenario in Rome, and he came to say the triumph of sacrifice and renunciation of the flesh to fix this depressed humankind at that time and up to today. That's the lesson he gave to us, right? Okay. Still about obedience and resignation from Lazarus, he says every generation is thus marked with the stamp of either virtue or vice, which must either save or ruin it. The virtue of your generation, which is ours, right, is intellectual activity, and its vice is moral indifference. What are we talking about here? We're talking about law of progress. Again, we talk about that we achieve so many things in technology, in medicine, in engineer, but our moral is still down here. So you're high in intelligence, but our moral is not leveled yet. And that's the law of progress that is described on the Spirit's book, third part, with the natural laws. Law of progress, we all are upon us. We are submitted to it, whether we like or not, whether we want or not. We are submitted of law of progress. That's why that questions we saw earlier, the 782, we are not regressing. We are always progressing as humanity, because we progressing in areas of knowledge, but we still kill each other, right? So we need to really practice the love, the peace loving that we should become, to stop this killing, to stop the hurting, to stop, hurting people. So morally, we have some work to do, and we are doing it. When we look at the news, the media only brings, bad things, bad news, but good things are also happening. Good things are happening. So Jesus' teachings offer us a safe guide to achieve moral progress, but depend on us too to make an effort to apply these teachings in our daily life, even a small one, right? As we commented before, even in small steps, right? Now, another teaches that is brought by the spirits, a protector spirit in Bordeaux, 1863, the year of 1863, talk about pride. Pride as an arrogance, right? So the pride leads us to deem ourselves to be more than we really are. We cannot endure any comparison that might belittle us. On the contrary, pride makes us consider ourselves to be so far above brothers and sisters, whether in spirit, social position, or personal advantage, that the least parallel irritates and hurts us. So, uh, what happens? So, we give in an anger. So, we need to to seek the orange of these outbursts that we have sometimes. That insanity that we behave like brutes, right? Sometimes people break stuff, break windows, throw cups, throw cell phones on the floor in anger. As this is wise to do. Even a patient, which often causes purely annoyances, is connected to the importance that we attribute to ourselves. That's why we need to seek the orange of the anger. Why there is so much anger in the world? Where is this come from? The Spirit says it's because we have our pride. We are very arrogant because we think we are more than others and we are above people, and we are not. See, you see people that you think, oh, this people is a bad person, but excuse me, we live in the same planet. We are in the same place. This means something, right? If you were so good, so above every scene and everyone, why would you be living here in this planet? Ask yourselves, because we have work to do also. They have work to do. They might have more work to do than you, but doesn't make you superior to that person. That's the message here, right? Now, just to remind us, because we are so deep in our daily lives, our routine, because we have work, we have to go to school, we have to uh, you know take care of family, take care of kids, and we forgot that we are spirit. We are occupy this body, right? And this is very important to know, because anger is not related to a physical condition. It comes from the spirit. So we need to remind ourselves the spirit, spiritual essence that we are. And when we remember what we are, we can remember where we're going to and what we have to do to make ourselves better, to help to progress the world. We are survivors of this pandemic. And as a survivor, I understand that we have to honor people who left Earth before us because of pandemic and because of wars or anything. Let's honor them. How? Doing good. Try to make ourselves better, to honor these people, they are red gone, right? So that's the message today. And I hope that we we take this to the heart, not only to the mind intellectually, just take to the heart this message. And I'd like to invite everyone to do a prayer together. Once, one more time, to Close our eyes if you want to, and elevate our thoughts to God, to thank for everything, and to our brother Jesus, to thank him for his love to us, his unconditional love, and all the help we received from him. And also, we thank our spiritual mentors and these good spirits that always follow us since before we incarnate. They are here, they are around us, help us, inspire us. Let's ask them to help us to make ourselves better each day, to control our anger, to control our anxiety, and to have hope, to keep our hopes up so we can navigate this difficult time that we have. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and I hope this message touched your heart deeply. Thank you.
Sandra, my friend, thank you so much. This was such an important reflections for the present times, which are quite
Yes,
challenging. And as you were discussing, I was here thinking, which one do I need the most of those virtues, because they are so important, right?
they are. They are very important.
So that was my takeaway, to really reflect on this, and in the week ahead, double double the efforts to acquire some of them. Thank you so much again.
You're very
Um,
welcome. Thank you.
and I would like to wish everyone a blessed week ahead. We look forward to be with you in our study groups and in our next lecture. If you would like to know the activities that we have at Conscious Living, just go to our website, and you have all the information there. Thank you so much, and until next time.
Bye.